What's up, everybody? I'm Stan, and welcome to Detail Comics, where we go over comics in detail. This is iRate Reviews, the show where I go over a comic book, its story, its art, give you my impressions, and let you know whether it's something you should go back to the comic book shop for or not. Make sure you subscribe to get more of these every single week. The comic that I want to talk about right now is Batman number 40. So this is the final part of the Super Friends arc, which is going to supposedly change the relationship between Bruce and Diana forever. Batman and Wonder Woman. Will they be friends? Will they be enemies? Will they be frenemies? And how is it going to impact the relationship with Catwoman? Let's dive into the issue and see exactly what we've got going on. When last we left Batman and Wonder Woman, temptation was abound as they had spent 10 years inside this lost dimension that was being guarded by the Gentlemen and the hordes of Gehenna or Everlasting, and they've been fighting them for a decade. So where we pick up is almost exactly like that. But we're just going to jump back to Selina real quick and the Gentleman because she just found out that the time passes in this dimension differently than it does on Earth. What seems like hours in the DC main universe is years, is decades inside this alternate reality. So, she has put, the Gentleman on the ground, and ultimately he is not willing to open up the portal and bring back Bruce and Diana. And then we see the outline silhouette glowing with the warmth of the fire that they've made, after this 10 years. And we get so close. There's such a closeness that goes along with this as you get this background story, which is kind of a Tom King writing trait. Because if we talk about, previous stories where he's done Mikhail Janin, he had the letter that was written to Selina and the letter that Bruce was writing back to her, where it was going over his assault on Santa Prisca. He told a very different story about his suicidal tendencies over the course of this art. And what we get here is the conversation between the Gentleman and Selina as we go over Bruce and Diana's art, where they're just saying very simple things, like, we can't. No, we can't. Not ever. Then we get to the things that we know about these characters to the core. Bruce loves Selina. And he misses her. He wants her. Even though he was tempted. Even though he was, of course you'd be tempted. I mean, she's fucking Wonder Woman. She is a goddess. She is the pinnacle of female perfection if you're talking about, just power and just everything. She's fucking Wonder Woman. And then, of course, Bruce is Batman. If there was ever two people that could be together, these would be them. And of course, temptation abounds. However, they both have dedication for the people that they left at home. So Wonder Woman cares about Steve Trevor, and she is going to be good for him. And then Bruce cares about Selina, so he needs to be good for her. And as his friend, she's going to tell Bruce, if you try, I will hit you so hard your silly little pointy ears will fall off. So she is well aware of the situation. She's not being a temptress. She's not being used as a tool, but ultimately showing the temptation, showing how those things can kind of happen is a very realistic endeavor inside this comic book. Of course, we go to see this whole storyline between the Gentleman and his wife and, what's been going on. And I mean, the storytelling inside this just visually is fantastic. Joelle Jones creates a phenomenal structure when it comes to how the wife reacts to the return of her husband. The tears, her standing up on her tiptoes, the clear difference in height and power and how she's feeling. And then you go back to how Wonder Woman and Bruce are relating in this situation. They're on year 24 and they're still fighting. They're on year 19 and they're making fun of how Superman always says up, up, and away, and they're still fighting. And then you've got Selina, and she's just watching this couple reunited as she's wondering what's going on inside this other realm, to the point where she can't take it anymore. She interrupts him. And then he's just like, just an hour or another 2. It's like, oh, how much is that going to be? That's a decade or so. So she just can't have this. And we're back on year 14 and they're fighting, but they're fighting together. The horde is everlasting, but they're the ones that can take care of it. And finally, we're on year 31 and Bruce admits that he misses his dog. He misses Ace. And then Wonder Woman admits that she misses her kangaroo. And Bruce is like, you have a kangaroo? It's like, I don't talk about it. Her name is Jumpa. It sounds nice. She is nice, and I miss her. This is just a really funny moment. And there's a great frame in here that Joelle Jones puts in, Wonder Woman eating whatever they're eating off of this spit. And it just looks fantastic. I fell in love with Joelle Jones's art the first time that she was on Batman. So I love everything about this. And then what it comes down to is, we're finally at that point where the Gentleman is returning. He's admitting what he did in order to do these kind of things. He couldn't take one more day away from his wife, so he lied. He did what he had to do. But he's ready to recommit to the station that he took up years ago. Well, actually, a year ago, but it seems like 1,000 to him. He smashes, his weapon onto the ground, and this flash of this burst of energy, the gateway opens up, and then all of a sudden, Diana and Bruce are back home. And they're in front of Selina, who's waiting for him there. And then, they hug and they talk and they go over things. And Wonder Woman gives her a little bit of, a little bit of insight. She's like, you're a criminal, yes? It's like, well, she doesn't necessarily think so. Maybe she's a hero, and she's happy that her friend, Batman, has found her and, found that kind of love. Basically, if he needs a break again, because Selina is obviously trying to err on the better half for Bruce, of course they can request him, but say that the wife will be joining them again. So it'd be 3 people instead of 2 at this point in time. So the both of them there for Wonder Woman and Selina and Bruce, maybe the hordes won't be so everlasting. And we get Batman being the honorable individual that he is. And in this moment, he says, I have to tell you something. A moment. 37 years of Wonder Woman, were you bad? It's like, not bad, but not good enough. Okay, but this is new, but I'm trying. Well, try harder. So Selina, ever understanding, knowing that these kind of things would happen, especially with the kind of time that was passing, but still, Bruce shows enough remorse after what is the equivalent of 30 plus years, 3 decades away from his love, only has one moment to talk about. And she understands. And everybody is the better for it. So the depth, if we're talking about how Bruce and Diana's relationship has changed, they met temptation, they averted the crisis, they took that and they put it away because those are the things that was necessary for the time. And then it ultimately deepened their relationship. They connected better as friends. They became a much tighter relationship without being intimate, without being romantic. And then Selina, understanding what's going on, she is probably going to have something in the back of her mind. It seems natural in that respect. But the honorable thing, the valiant thing, is what everybody did. And that's just showing a lot of real strong character when it comes to Batman. I'm really impressed with Tom King and how this thing wrapped up. It's very similar to what I expected it to be, because if you rewrote those characters in a different way, it would feel wrong. But, the feeling of how right it is makes me feel like this is a very well-written story, and it hits on those high points. It's not necessarily the same as what you got in the Superman aspect of Super Friends, but it gives you a very unique perspective and a deepening of the relationship between Batman and Wonder Woman that wasn't necessarily there. And then, of course, I've just been gushing about Joelle Jones's art, so it's fantastic and definitely something that you should be picking up. So I want to know what you guys think about this. I want to know what you guys think about this issue, and hit me up in the comments down below so we can start that conversation. As always, if you liked the video, like, share, and subscribe so you can get more content about news, reviews, and anything really having to do with the world of comics.